Hi friends and fellow Earth Angels, it's Gladys. Welcome back to another one of my weekly Sunday card readings, and this spread will start by covering March 7th through the 13th, or whenever you're guided to watch, as I always intend these to be timeless readings. So welcome friends. I just want to channel a few messages that are really intended for preparation. So we have the new moon next Saturday, so I'll talk more about this next recording, but next Saturday we will have the new moon in Pisces. The new moon in Pisces is the last sign in the 12-month zodiac cycle. So the following new moon will be new moon in Aries, which is the beginning of a new cycle of the 12 zodiac signs. Pisces is a water energy. It's intuitive. I mean, I enjoy Pisces, being a water sign myself. It seems like dreamy and romantic. But also, too, what I want to, the preparation is, I keep seeing the message of releasing the past. So as you're in reflection of the last year, the last zodiac cycle, if you can look back and just see where maybe you were stuck in the past, maybe going back to something, an experience, something that was like troubling, shoulda, coulda, woulda, things that we feel may have been a mistake. Or like I said, if you are stuck in a space of emotional energy, where are you? This is the week to release that. So, and again, because it is a powerful time right before the final new moon of this 12-month zodiac cycle, this would be a time I feel, to really release those things that we aren't able to change. And one of the things I'm hearing too is we got to remember that rejection is God's protection. If something moved out of your life, or there was some change or some aha and some awarenesses that might have been hard to digest, we have to remember that God does have a plan. And also, too, I see with the Pisces new moon in preparation, like, what can you look forward to? Looking to the future of more laughter, more play, more connection, more freedom, more service, more joy, right? I feel like we're kind of in the space of out with the old, in with the new. So reflecting upon where may you be going back to? Kind of, and also too, a lot of thoughts in the past can really activate that depression, or, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, how and what if, and the burdens that we carry. So this would be a good time this week to surrender it to the divine, release it, and then forgiveness of the self too is super important. Like, I always try to remind myself, I don't know until I know. And then when I know, I do better. And so there's this self-acceptance of mistakes or what I didn't know. And had I known, maybe I would have done this differently. And so many of you that are watching these videos and will watch them in the future are in this transformational state. A lot of what you didn't know, you know now. And also too, this magical energy that's going on. So it's a really powerful time going into the new moon in Pisces to manifest, right? Support, guidance. It's really important to stay grounded and connected to your intuition, because I think opportunities and experiences are going to come fast. And all last year and all up until this point, many of you have been practicing through experience, getting to know the difference between what's intuitive, what's divinely inspired, and what's influenced based on our old programs and old belief systems. So that all being said, I thought I would bring in some beautiful animal energy this week. They're the embodiment of unconditional love. The animal kingdom can teach us so much based on the cycles of life. So I'm going to start with the Archangel Animal deck. And then I'm going to get additional messages from Nature's Whispers. And then I'm going to ask for guidance on any transitions or changes you're going through, what you're learning about those. And then what is the lesson that you're getting? Like, what is being gifted to you in the experiences that you're having this week? And then finally, I'm going to use the Divine Animals Oracle for an overall message. I'm intending this card to be like what's to come in the future, or what's to look forward to, what energy's coming to you. So I'm going to keep the decks close. The books close. I might have to go into the book. So let me start. Let me open up space per usual. I want to invite in all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light that would like to assist with this guidance for you today. Specifically the animal kingdom, animal medicine, animal totem. And I'm going to ask that the guidance that comes through be for your best and highest good and the best and highest good of all concerned. All right, friends, so let's start. It's the most important message that can benefit you this week. Whoa. Really? Okay, well, can't deny it. It might be a long reading, friends. All right, let's see. So the first card is Dog. And Dog's message is be disciplined in your home and your community life. So I'm just going to pull them out and just see all three of them, how they all come together. Rabbit, recognize your significance. And Rat, be true to yourself and the universe will reward you. Wow. Okay, let's see here. Let me just grab the energy. Of course, Dog came in, right? Dog is the embodiment of friend, of unconditional love. So I feel like, I talked about this in a few past readings recently about spiritual discipline, right? Keeping our energy maintained, setting boundaries for ourselves. So here's an example. So my life is predominantly filled with uncertainty. Now, I say this, I never really know where my income is going to come from, where clients are going to come from, whom I'm going to log on and see. I never know what's going to be said. I never know how things are going to unfold. But here's the thing, the ego part of me never knows these things, but the soul part of me knows that God drives my purpose. God blesses me abundantly. People are guided to me for a reason, right? So I really had to learn for many years how to be comfortable with uncertainty, or the amount of uncertainty I had in my life. And so to balance that, I had to learn self-discipline and create certainty in my life, a schedule, a routine, things I did at certain times. I mean, every single reading that you go on, I open up space and I close space. That's spiritual discipline. So if you're feeling fragmented, if you're feeling scattered, if you're feeling pulled all over and there's a lot of uncertainty in your life, balancing it with certainty can help tremendously. I know earth angels don't really like to follow routines and it seems monotonous, but it really is important if you're being activated with uncertainty. It says in your home and your community life. So recently I've had to reestablish myself as alpha with my own dog because he's been getting a little big for his britches. He's not really listening to commands. He's kind of like turning his back on me, when he doesn't like the boundaries. So I really had to, and it was a reminder that I was getting away from my own regular exercise, my own regular time with God. And I was like, thank you, sweet puppy, for reminding me. So we both have had to get back to healthy discipline. You know, he needs to sit and he needs to come when he's called. And, you know, we're in that process. Obviously, I've been home for almost a year now. So we're getting back in that routine of I've got to go out and you stay home. And so some of you may have kind of gotten away from your discipline practices that actually create certainty and balance in your life. So here's the thing, people can certainly challenge that. Recognize your significance, be true to yourself, and the universe will reward you. If you're jumping through hoops or if you're spinning your wheel. So again, sometimes it's hard to change when people are used to us being a certain way, right? They're used to getting away with certain things. And this could pertain to your work life. This could pertain to your home life. This could be with your own body. So the universe just wants to remind you, if you had a routine or there were things that you were doing where you were feeling good and maybe you've been getting that away from that little bit. This is not to shame. This is not to blame. This is to say, oh yeah, that's right. That stuff helps me with certainty. That stuff helps me with balance, receiving and giving, right? We talked about that with the Virgo full moon last week, about the importance of balance of giving and receiving, that you are worth support, guidance, love. I'm also too seeing, like, it says, be true to yourself and the universe will reward you, meaning when you know your worth, when you're in that space of this feels good, I'm open to receiving, I surrender to the divine, the universe can gift you with golden nuggets. The universe can, it's like almost like all you got to do is have like just a crack open of, I'm open to receiving guidance or support from the universe. So here's the thing. We all know on a soul level, when we ask for something, change will happen. So I want to speak to some of you who have been in a comfort zone, right? Sometimes it's almost like, oh, I know I got to do this. I know I got to get to this done. I know I got to make this phone call. Oh, why did I wait so long? Maybe it's focusing on debt and maybe digging yourself out of hold with debt. Maybe it's stuff that you've accumulated this last year. Maybe it's within your body. Maybe it's emotions. There's so many ways that this can help. Once you affirm that I am worthy and deserving of feeling better, I am worth having a body, a community, a job where I'm energetically abundant. Once you declare that through adversity, challenges, difficulty, once you're saying, okay, I'm open to change, then the ego goes aside and you start following the leads of the universe. Things unfold. I mean, my navigator has always been, God, if there's something I'm supposed to do, say, be, or have, tell me twice. And so maybe if there's something I'm supposed to read, so it's not uncommon for me when I open up YouTube that I'll see a video and I'll just kind of scroll through it or whatever. And then the next day, the same video pops up. But I'm pulled to it this next time. I'm like, you know what? There's something there for me. And then I'll listen to it and it's exactly what I needed. So you're being asked to listen to the call of the universe. You're worthy and deserving of being spoken to, of universal guidance and assistance. But you also have to believe you're worthy and deserving of that. Rabbit is symbolism, works with courage and fear. So that might be something that might come up for you guys. Like, I know I got to make change. I need to get back to, but you can't, like I said, let's say it's getting healthy. We can't necessarily go into getting healthy because we feel there's something wrong with the way we look or our body and we need to fix it, because it never lasts. But if you can go from the approach of like, feeling healthy and energetically abundant is what makes me feel good, and I'm worth showing up to the walks or the bike or the running or weights or whatever is going to help nourish your body. But if you're going to it from a place of being out of alignment of love and acceptance, unconditional love for yourself, the energy just never sustains. It just doesn't work that way, right? Doing something to get something, it just doesn't sustain, and it can't possibly last. So I just keep seeing the words align. Ask the divine to help you align to what is in your divine right. Again, there's a lot of things going on in the collective. Like I see for some people, it's fear and courage with work stuff. Some people, it's their home. Some people, it's their health. Change, the overall theme is change. Change is upon us. Like I said, we're ending a zodiac 12-month cycle. We're going to be going into a new one. And this is a time to review and prep for the future of what you want to work towards and put energy towards when that new moon in Aries hits in a month. Hold on a second. Okay, let me get some Nature's Whispers card here. It's funny, I knew this might have been a big reading, that's why I didn't put anything else but the candle. Let me see here. Let me ask. What additional message to go with all three? How do we tie all this together? Nature's Whispers. What's a message that can tie all these three together? Oh, okay. So I can't not take them. So there's three here. Open your heart. Card number 10. If I recall, last week the number 10 came up twice, right? This is like new beginnings. The cycle is ending. So where do we begin? Open your heart to love, right? Open your heart to receiving. And the other two cards that came out, acceptance of love. And then show your support, which is card 4. Wow. Let me see here. Love. So here's the thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people grew up with conditional love. Do this for me and I will love you. If you don't do as I say or as I like, I'm going to pull my love away, right? It really goes back to that inner child that doesn't like what the parent says, so they storm off. So I feel like the divine wants to reiterate, we're not going anywhere. We love you so much. And earth angels are so gifted at being able to give unconditional love to others, animals, children, seniors, even people who are challenging and need to set boundaries. This is why earth angels have such a hard time with soul ties, right? Because we make these connections based on our unconditional love. And unfortunately, a lot of times in the past, people have taken advantage, or they have, and again, this, we've allowed it too, right? It goes equally here. I'm going to fix this person. I'm going to save them. I'm going to change them. I'm going to make them better, right? So, if you're dealing with somebody with addictions, or you're dealing with somebody who is in a really toxic negative space, or if you're dealing with somebody or people in your life who are scattered and they don't know what they want, you have to understand that's a mirror on some level. And there's no more that the universe isn't saying you got to do something about it. It's being able to accept guidance and love and support from the universe. Oh, I see it now. I see where I went off. I see where I'm stuck in the shadow or the darkness. I see where I'm lost in the mouse maze of fear and worry. And I feel like the overall message here is love will lead you back, but you have to understand you don't know until you know. And then when you know, you do better. So a lot of you are exploring the universal energy, infinite spirit, that unconditional love, that you mean if I tempt fate or if I respectfully demand that God is still going to show up, you mean that if I don't say my prayers every single morning at this time, God's still going to love me? Does that mean if I'm not perfect and do everything right, God's still going to love me? Yes. That's what Jesus, that's what the idea and the vibration of Jesus came into this world, right? I've come here to transmute and transform that energy. So even if you have just a crack of possibility to be open to this unconditional love, speaking of love, so understand that love is everywhere. Love is us, right? And when we're not in tune and connected to ourselves, and we're rejecting our own love for ourselves, we will then reject it in ways that it's coming in the world, right? And then anger and resentment and bitterness can creep in. So I have this quote that I saw. It's actually on my phone now that says, I opened my arms to love, and love embraced me like a lover. And that's by Rumi. So again, it's I opened my arms to love, and love embraced me like a lover. And so what I'm learning is how to embody, and embrace love just as I am right here, right now. And there's an expansion of the heart. Sometimes you're moved to tears. Sometimes you're like, this is the best feeling ever. I never want it to go away. But you're learning how to now actively take action in enhancing love in your life outside of partner, friends, materialistic things. Those things can come and go, right? So a lover, a physical lover in this world of a masculine or feminine energy that comes to you can activate the love that's already within you, but they aren't necessarily the love, right? So we can't attach love to things because things come and go, right? That's the cycles and rhythms of life. So we're now as earth angels learning how to experience love even when we're challenged, even when we're having a hard time, being able to activate the energy within us is like, okay, how do I send love to this situation? Okay, I'm having a really difficult time with this. This is a really dark place for me. And why can't I let this go? And why can't I get over it and move on? Why am I so stuck? How can you now practice activating unconditional love? Because remember, earth angels already embody that. You're masterful at it. But unfortunately, because we didn't know, that was taken advantage for a long time. So we protect it fiercely, right? We guard our hearts. The practice is being open in all situations, knowing that people could hurt us, they could betray us, they could, stab us in the back, certainly. But that when you know 1000% that if something like that happens, that you have the ability to walk away, you have the ability to set a boundary, and you can self-protect, it activates this love within. That's your power, friends. This deep core part of self-love and self-acceptance. And when you move on that journey, you're going to be challenged in a sense of maybe you're not happy with the way you look in clothes, or maybe, you're struggling with cravings, or maybe you feel like you should be doing this and should be doing that. That's where you practice self-love. Okay, I know this is something I've got to work on. I know it's something I've got to grow in. So how do I stand here? Frustrated, annoyed, aggravated, sad, despondent, stuck. How do I practice love in this moment? And you'd be amazed how that vibration transforms your world around you. And then when you feel it, again, I think I've mentioned in other videos, sometimes I sit here and in the peace and quiet of my home, and I just feel love flowing. I'm like, holy crap. This is so powerful. How come I've denied myself of this so many years? More of this or something even better. But again, you don't know until you know. And then when you know, you do better. So many earth angels right now are crossing a bridge. You've done amazing work with setting boundaries, empowering yourself, educating yourself, practicing. And so this is that part of this year being a transitional year, transformational year, to understand love at deeper levels. But again, it starts with accepting, opening your heart, and then showing your support for others, right? Having compassion and empathy for others who may be struggling as well. So, transition. What are you? Hold on a second. Let me see. Nope. Let me see here. I'm just gonna make this just a little bigger. Okay, I don't know if that even gave me much room, but we'll see. Okay, so transition. Butterflies, right? Butterflies represent transformation. What do you need to know? I'm going to ask Animal Kingdom, what do you need to know about your transition this year, your transformation? Where could you be focusing your energy? What do you need to know? Ooh, religion and spirituality. Interesting. So there is a clear difference. So when we talk about love, it can absolutely bring up the dogma of old traditions with regards to faith, what God is to us. I mean, you have to know that that's first and foremost. So I mean, I hope you know at this point I have this deep love for God. And I personally feel like there's no other way to that enlightenment but with the connection of infinite spirit, the supreme, right? Source, God. So some of you may be challenged with old programs, right? Outdated belief systems on what you thought, right? You don't know until you know, and when you know, you do better. So some of you might be guided to different types of teachings. Some of you might be guided to explore different philosophies, different cultures, right? There is, the Trinity in Hindu. There's a Hindu Trinity. There's the Egyptian Trinity. I think I've done that in other readings. And so you might be guided to explore other avenues, getting bits of information that are all different words. Shakti, Shiva, right? These vibrations that come from other philosophies and other cultures that are deeply rooted in infinite spirit. I feel like you might be guided to, again, get out of that comfort zone of limiting thoughts or belief systems. And you'll know when something comes up and there's resistance to it. When I presented an idea or something comes along, I'm like, I don't know about that. And friends, I say that a lot. I'm not sure about that. I get this resistance, but in a lot of actuality, in a lot of ways, I realize it's connected to my own power. Like these things that I'm getting, these things that I'm hearing are so powerful. It's a power that I'm not ready to explore yet. So I instantly have resistance. I'm like, okay, if there's something I need to know about this, come back again. And sure enough, somebody will say something, I'll see something, I'll hear something. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just take a peek. Let me see, right? But if you're rejecting something, if somebody's saying something to you or correcting you or somebody's saying it has to be this way or that way, you're going to want to reject that because everything's evolving, everything's changing. There's really nothing that's ever definitive, right? I've learned to never say never because all those things I said I would never do, guess what? I have done in some form or another. So we're in this space of breaking down these old religious belief systems, exploring different levels of spirituality. And when you do, you have to remember, friends, God is still going to love you. I mean, I think I've shared on my journey that I rejected God for years. I mean, that was the darkest space I'd ever been in my life. And I wasn't open to God. I wasn't open to this Father, this supreme being that, is judgmental of what I thought was judgmental. And I was going to be punished if I didn't perform or act a certain way. And so finally I just got rebellious. And I truly believe God sent his angels to me. Archangel Michael was the first angel I was ever gifted with, I was presented with, that was shared with me. And I latched on to Michael like a child latches on to her father or grandfather's leg. I latched on. And then I have no doubt Michael led me to Raphael, that led to me to other angels, that led me to Mother Mary and Jesus, that led me back to God. So sometimes we got to start somewhere that feels comfortable. Where can you be open to love in some way? So listening this week, if you're not sure and you're struggling with love and you think love has to be always of service or giving, or, you know, and you're feeling resentful and bitter, know that it's time to kind of pull back and fill up your tank to receive divine love, whatever that is to you. Maybe you'll receive a gift, of a flower, like a flower kiss, or maybe you'll receive a gift from the sun, or a sun kiss, or maybe the wind will come and play with your hair. Or how can you receive from the universe and be open to all different kinds of vibrations of love? I'm just looking at the cards here. Okay. So what lessons? All this being said, connecting with unconditional love, different variations. You can even ask God, show me your definition of unconditional love. Show me what that means to you. And you might see a parent who's really fighting for their child who's struggling with addiction, right? You might see an experience where an animal, I have these crows in my backyard, which, again, it's not lost on me how crow medicine and magic and stuff, and I've been manifesting this beautiful energy, and so I've been taking in like the crow energy. But I asked, like, show me the wisdom. I'm really stuck. I'm in the shadow. Like, I'm really having a hard time. And then, like, a few weeks ago, these crows appeared. I think there's a nest in one of the giant trees in my backyard. And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, of course, it's mysterious. It's magical. I have to remember there's that part of me. I'm a powerful manifester. And boom, it activated this love energy so powerfully. So you have to understand that messages and guidance and wisdom is everywhere. There's been so many times that I've had it, like I've driven by things over and over and over again. Then all of a sudden I get a hit or an aha moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been there the whole time. How did I miss that? How did I not see that? How did I not get that? So the veil's being lifted and you're being presented with aha moments and experiences if you're listening or if you're watching, if you're present. So what are the lessons? What's the gift of the lessons that you're learning right now? Ooh, formation. Oh, so I'm feeling that things are starting to take form. That you might start to see what's being gifted is you're starting to see like a shape. So I'm seeing the imagery of a sperm and an egg and conception of a human. And I'm seeing how in the beginning it is like a form, a mass. And then over time it starts to develop and you start to see the hands develop and the arms and the legs, and you start to see it becoming something. And then with ultrasounds now you can start to see the characteristics and the shape of the nose and the fingers, right, and the body shape and the shape of the head. And then over time it starts then to develop into a gender, right, or what it's going to be. And so you guys are in this space of formation. So I feel like everybody's in a different space, but I feel like when we open up to love, in its highest form, then we start to see, things start to take form, the manifestations start to unfold, because there's this faith, there's this trust, there's this support, there's this power, right? There's this union of self, that you are a powerful, strong being in the world, regardless of where you live, what you look like, what your bank account looks like. I think my accent just came out there, my Rhode Island accent. It's so funny. I think that happens. I try, really hard to, be articulate, like in a specific way, but my accent just creep out there sometimes, when I get passionate. So I believe that as you sit through this stuff and you check in with what feels like truth, what is working for me, what can I dump, how can I release and move forward, things will start to take form. Wow. So that's kind of like the gift. That's kind of the gift of the lessons. Like, you're going through these difficult things so that you can start to see the beauty of life transform and unfold and become something. Life is just such a dance, my friends. It's such a fascinating, alluring, maddening dance. All right, so let me finish here with the Divine Animal Oracle. So an overall message for you this week. These have an animal and a word. So I'm going to ask the animal kingdom to gift you with a word this week. Gift you with a word to empower you this week. Okay, so I need to stop for a second. So one of the things I'm seeing, I'm looking at this card here, and so I feel like you're being reminded of your faith and what you believe. What's your core? That's like the base of it all. So some of you, if you still have resistance to God, which is human and normal, if you're becoming more aware of the ego, right, which is human, the limiting, especially with the rabbit, the limiting thoughts, the fear, love, right, don't do this, don't do that, what if this happens, what if that happens, I might get in trouble. Like, if those are coming up for you, the core is really strengthening your relationship with the divine, meaning surrendering into, asking for assistance instead of that ego part of us that wants to do something and make it happen. I know, I should, I need to, right? And it comes from that mental mind, and we kind of end up spinning the wheel. So for some of you, sometimes it's admitting that you're having trouble with the God, or you're having a hard time with what to believe, or your faith, right? Sometimes just sitting with that and surrendering, like saying, God, I'm afraid. God, I have no idea what I'm doing. God, like, what the heck, man? I'm just tired. And, I've had some come to Jesus sessions with the good Lord, right, over time. And again, when I brought my frustrations and my aggravations and my anger and my annoyances to God, I still felt loved. I felt heard, because then what would happen is a book, a teacher, a mentor, something would come along that would a Joel Osteen podcast, right? Or R.C. Blake's. Those are phenomenal pastors that I resonate with tremendously. They would have some type of talk or something that would really set me straight. And I'm like, okay, then I can bring all things to God. Just not just like the fluffy things, but the deep, complicated things. So for some of you, this week, exploring your core foundation and really, like, where are your struggles and where are your resistance and what are you having a hard time believing in or not. Very early on in my journey, before I even had a practice or before I was even taking classes and trainings, I was so confused about the Jesus story. And I'm like, Jesus, tell me what I need to know. I want to know you, but I want to know you, not filtered through eons and eons of change and stories. I'm like, what do I need to know? And I've gotten some beautiful books that have come along my way that are basically just about love. That's what it is. Like Jesus's ability to show up in the world and love all people. He was a phenomenal teacher. He never answered yes or no. He was notorious for answering a question with a question, right? He encouraged others to dig deeper, to ask the questions. So I feel like you're in that space right now. Ask the questions, get to the heart of the matter. It's got to do with faith. It's got to do with trust in this divine force. I mean, you have to know that there's this power that's operating with you. You got to go higher. If you're stuck in the psychic energy, right? Or stuck in fourth dimension, you got to go higher, which will require change, which will require like a shining a light on the ego again, which is human, which is part of who we are. It's like digging into it, facing it, right? With the bunny, the courage and the bravery. All right, so let me finish here. What are you being gifted with this week? Word are you gifted with? Make it a little more clear. Okay. 2. Let's see. Ooh, sacrifice, the bull. Interesting. So we have card 40 and we have 40 here. So 4 is about security, stability, foundation. 0 is God's number. I connect that, and we have cycles of life, right? So where may you be sacrificing when you don't need to? And then where can you honor that which is being sacrificed for you? So here's an example. My mother, bless her, was a single mother. And she sacrificed a lot for my brother and I. And it came from unconditional love. My mom has this fierce, unconditional love for her children. And remember, we all got stuff, we all got challenges, we all got issues, right? But at the core of it, I treasure my mom's sacrifices because it's helped me become the person that I am today. It's an intricate part of why I have the life that I have. And so sacrifice isn't necessarily like, oh, I can't have that. So old religion paradigms have you sacrifice things. I mean, so there's got to be some peace with that too. Where can you honor? So Native Americans, they honor the bison, they honor the animal, and they use all parts of it, right? The animal gifts us with life. The animal gifts us with nourishment for our bodies to satiate. Right? Now, I mean, a lot of us are learning we don't need it to eat as much, and we're more conscious of taking care of animals, and there's a lot of people that are changing their diet. But how can we look at our foundations, and where does self-sacrifice come in? And it's like there's a heroism in it that's activating anger and resentment. And then where can you look back in your lineage and be like, man, I'm so grateful that, they had those hard experiences. Thank God. I mean, I love them so much more for having those experiences so that I could learn. There's a lot of ancestral ties and binds being cleared out right now. A lot of past life stuff being cleared out right now. Remember, we're in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of freedom. So even looking at that word, if you have resistance to it, what that actually means, right? And then the other card that came up is connection. Which again, oh my gosh, is that another? It is. It's another 4, right? So 4 again is foundation. 4 too is the angel numbers. It means hundreds of thousands of angels are with you. Ask them anything. So you're also being gifted with connection. So there's an ego version of sacrifice, and then there's a spiritual reverence and honor form of sacrifice. 4. God, there's so many 4s in here. So it's like getting to the core of your foundation. So with the 10s, the 10s that have been coming up. I mean, there's the 2 here too, 8, 11, 2. 2 is about balance. So core beliefs, and really in the heart of it is self-love. Loving yourself deeply, madly. Again, setting boundaries. I always say, Maya Angelou, she's like my spiritual mother. And whenever I want maternal guidance from a spiritual perspective, I call on Maya Angelou. I had a dream about her a while back, and she showed up in my dream, and she was dressed beautiful, and she showed up, and I was so excited to see her, and I honored her, and I just kind of guided her in, and she just was so beautiful. Anyway, I always say Maya Angelou didn't have to demand respect or honor. She was the embodiment of wisdom. She was the embodiment of, she was enough, right? Her work and her gift of love to the world was enough. She carried it, radiated from her. And from there, she attracted opportunities in spirit. Because you're just thinking about, I'm talking about a woman who had a very, very difficult upbringing, right? And she was able to take that and transform that energy into magic, in wisdom that gifted the world, that will be around for generations and eons come. No doubt she was an ascended master, right? It doesn't mean our lives are all unicorns and rainbows. That doesn't mean we don't go without and have our troubles. That doesn't mean that we don't choose to be born into dysfunctional families so that we can learn, evolve, and grow. But you're at a point right now where you can take that and you can share that with the world. In my practice, my personal life has had struggles. My personal life, because I have such a big purpose, because I have such a big mission, and I have this big, strong connection to share God in the way I know it, which is very different from many that experience it. And I tell you, friend, I'm just beginning and showing what connection actually is. There has been some sacrifice in my life, friendships and relationships, and there have been some things. And it was only when I finally knew who I was and what my purpose was and why I was here. Now, I know a portion of that. I mean, that's going to continually unfold. It was only then that the right support system that I aligned with came in, the right partners, the right people in my life would come in that I could work with on all facets. So you're being asked to individualize here. It really is getting back to you, right? Which is the connection of the self. Foundational roots, what matters, what's important. Again, there are so many messages in this. So much guidance. My head is swimming a little bit. All right, let me see here. So maybe for some of you, sitting and meditating with the word love, that's the heart of the matter. That's the root of it all. All right. And again, I encourage you, pause this, look at the words, intuitively work with them yourself, right? I mean, there's so much energy here. I mean, if you haven't figured out, there's so many layers to the work that I do. And I pray that the messages hit you in a certain way. I pray that they spiritually nourish you. I pray that you've learned something. Or maybe if you're hearing the same things over and over again, it's that surrendering into, and it's empowering you, saying, you got this, you know this. Let's do something with it, right? So, I thank you so much for connecting and sharing your energy. Let me close space for us, thanking all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light that assisted with this guidance for you today, especially the animal kingdom. They're rock stars this week. And I'm going to ask that any healing that was started continue for as long as it needs to be done. All right, so here's the thing. I had to learn YouTube, and they've been making all these updates and changes in their studio. So for those of you who comment regularly, Thank you. I love you. I appreciate it so much. Even if it's just to say thank you, or, I used to have you guys send me hearts or flowers, or, I used to, and I want to kind of get back to that because I love those older readings where when you look at the comments and there's like flowers or different color hearts or stars or moon energy. So if you don't know what to say and you just kind of want to leave a comment, maybe leaving an emoji or something, a thumbs up. Those of you who comment regularly, I have bypassed you from needing approval. Obviously, my channel, there's no nonsense on my channel, and you either like it or you don't, and that's fine. So I filter the comments, and I have to say, I'm so grateful. I never have to delete comments. I mean, the only ones I have to delete are like the advertisement for like explicit material or something like that. I think everybody gets it, but for the most part, I have to say I'm so blessed and so lucky. So those of you who comment regularly, your comments should post right away. And the more interactive you are, the more I've learned now that I can just bypass that filter for you. So your comments will be posted right away. So again, hearts and flowers, my favorite color is purple. Let's fill the comment sections with some fun. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine, trust your intuition, and I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now.